Hi guys, my name is Lucia and welcome back to another video in my series Make Up Your Mind, where I talk about makeup related things I have made my mind up about. If you have missed any video in this series, I will link my playlist down below. Today I'm going to be talking about drugstore prices that need to chill out. I have been wanting to make this video for months now, and I am finally sitting down to talk about drugstore prices that are ridiculous. Now, this is not an original idea. I have seen other people talk about this, but it's something that I personally really wanted to talk about because what the hell is going on? I have a list of drugstore prices that are blowing my mind. Why are things getting so expensive? I remember when L'Oreal was the most expensive brand, and that was maybe $12 or $13, and I remember looking at that and saying, drugstore? And now it's like, oh honey, you thought that was expensive? That's cute. For me personally, when I shop, I'm constantly comparing prices between Sephora and the drugstore, and I'm trying to figure out, do I want to splurge on an item and get something high-end, or do I want to get something drugstore? When I see stuff that is really creeping up there in drugstore prices, unless I absolutely love it and I really want it, I usually just go for the high-end thing. That is my question to you guys that I want you to answer in the comments. What do you think of this? What do you think of drugstore prices creeping up the ladder and really getting up there? And do you think at some point Sephora and drugstore prices will be a blurred line? Let me know down below and let's get started. All of the products that I'm going to be talking about, aside from one brand, I found the prices on Ulta, and obviously I am from America, so I can only speak for American prices. And the first brand I want to talk about is NYX. I wrote down a lot of stuff from NYX and I honestly had to stop because the list was getting too long. I had to be like, okay Lucia, move on to the next brand. There are so many shockingly expensive things from NYX, which is honestly strange because I don't remember NYX being an expensive brand. The Total Control Drop Foundation is $13.99. The Drop Primer is $16.99. And let me just tell you, during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, that's how much I paid for my Becca First Light Priming Filter. Now, I know originally this is really expensive, but what I'm saying is you can find super expensive products at Sephora that are super good quality on sale for the same prices as these ridiculous NYX prices. The Honey Do Me Up Skin Serum and Primer is also $16.99. I've heard people don't even like this. I've heard that it's really sticky. And there were a lot of other foundations and primers that were $16.99, $17.99. When you're thinking drugstore foundation, at least me, I'm thinking under $10, maybe $9 for a foundation, but it's just not affordable, and I feel like less people are trying these things out because it's almost laughable. Like, what do you mean you're NYX? What do you mean you're gonna charge me that much? Now the prices get really crazy. The Sweet Cheeks Blush Palette is $19.99. The Highlight and Contour Pro Palette is $24.99. The Born to Glow Highlighting Palette is also $24.99. Next, I want to talk about eyeshadow palettes, and I actually want this part to be a discussion topic because eyeshadow palettes at the drugstore have absolutely gone so up in price. They're now in the $18 to $22 range. But I would argue that the quality of them has also gone up just as much as the price. So I'm going to list off some stuff. When eyeshadow palettes first started creeping up in price, I remember the first one that did was the L'Oreal Color Niche Le Palette Nude 1, and it was $19.99. And I remember thinking, you're joking. $19.99 for a drugstore palette, but now if you look, they're all like that. The NYX Midnight Chaos eyeshadow palette is $21.99. The Maybelline palettes are around $20 as well. And also I was thinking about the ColourPop palettes because the ColourPop palettes without a mirror, like the Dream Street palette, are $16, and the ColourPop palettes with the mirror are $18, and these are amazing quality. I don't know about all the drugstore brands having amazing quality eyeshadows, but what do you guys think about this new $20 range for drugstore eyeshadow palettes? It's definitely never been like that before, but drugstore eyeshadow palettes used to never have good quality. I think from the drugstore, really only singles had good quality, and then you had to turn to Urban Decay otherwise. Next, let's talk about number 7. Now, number 7 is not sold at Ulta. I had to go onto Walgreens, and I already knew. I knew this was going to be an expensive brand. They have an Airbrush Away foundation. It is $17.99, and then their Airbrush Away Radiance Boosting Primer is $19.99. Are you buying that? Because I'm not buying that. I'm just not doing it. When I think drugstore, I specifically think this is going to be affordable. I don't think here's a $20 bill for a primer. Now I have here the number 7 bronzer in the shade Maple. This was sent to me from Octoly. This is $12.99, and as far as I could see on the Walgreens website, that is the cheapest product they have. Their blushes are the same. I think their powder face products are also the same amount of money. 2 highlighters that really surprised me were the Milani Powered Highlighter for $12.99 and the Revlon Electric Shock Highlighter Powder for $14.99. Let's talk about the Revlon one for a second, because that comes in what is, to me, pretty cheap looking packaging. It's just plastic, and honestly, at this point, I don't think highlighters are all that different. We're at a point now where if you want to splurge on a $30 highlighter from Sephora because it's beautiful and the packaging is nice and it's luxurious, that makes sense to me, but it's not so much that the quality of the highlighter is so much better than things from the drugstore. For example, the JCat You Glow Girl Baked Highlighter in the shade 104 Crystal Sand. This is $8.99. This is amazing. It is a super intense highlight. I will give you a swatch, and that is $5 cheaper than this Revlon one. And honestly, I think the packaging is nicer on this one. It's very pretty. Now that's an intense highlight. If you want a subtle highlight, the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter is $4.49, and this is beautiful. Now the packaging is a little bit more like the Revlon packaging in the sense that it's not very good. This is what the swatch looks like, but it's inexpensive. And my point with this is I just think it's crazy to spend that middle ground $15 for a highlight when the packaging isn't that great and the highlight is probably the same as every other highlight. Maybe that's just because I'm not super into the super glowy highlight look anymore, and I do find them to be all the same. It's smart as a drugstore brand to make your highlights a little bit less money. I think that people will go for them more, and it'll be more talked about than the $15 highlighter that honestly looks really cheap. Something I wanted to talk about from Revlon that really bothered me is they have this Youth FX Fill and Blur foundation, and on the Ulta website they have 3 shades. The shade Caramel is the first one, and it retails for $8.99, and then they have 2 deeper shades, Cappuccino and Mocha, and they retail for $17.99, and to my knowledge, the only thing different is that they are darker shades. And if you're about to tell me you're charging twice as much for having a deeper skin tone, that is crazy, because $8.99 is a really good price for a foundation. But then if someone needs a deeper shade, you're gonna charge them almost $20. That is so messed up. They should all be the same price. I was so appalled by that. I don't even know what to say. Have you even ever heard something like that? I haven't. Maybelline has a Tattoo Brow Waterproof Eyebrow Gel for $12.99. And is it just me, or is that a really high price for a drugstore brow gel? Maybe it's because I'm so used to everyone talking about the Essence brow gel that's a couple of dollars. How different is a brow gel? I just think that $13 for a drugstore brand to be charging is just too much, especially when you do have stuff like the Essence one that is so much cheaper and everybody really likes that. Next, I want to talk about L'Oreal. Now, L'Oreal has always been, as I said, an expensive drugstore brand. They had some products that I was honestly just confused about why this was so much money. The first thing is the Paris and Balmain Paris lipstick, and this is $13.99. Now, their normal lipsticks are a couple dollars less, and they do have some pretty cool colors. They have a blue and what looks like to be a sparkly green. I personally really like MAC lipsticks, and if you're dangling a lipstick in front of my head that's drugstore but it's that much money, I'd rather just spend a couple more dollars and buy a MAC lipstick. Not all lipsticks at Sephora are that expensive. A lot of them are in the $20 range. I have tried the L'Oreal lipsticks before. I don't like the smell. I find the packaging to be really annoying. They're not even the best drugstore lipsticks I've tried. The Maybelline ones are way better. They are way cheaper. The last thing I want to talk about really just blew my mind. We'll go out with a bang here. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Magic Pro Pigment Makeup for Lips. It says it's a powder to cream pigment for your lips, and it's $14.99, which is more than the lipstick I just complained about that was too expensive. The reason this blows my mind is that these powder to cream lip pigments, that's not a thing. You're trying to introduce a new concept that people don't know yet. This isn't like, oh yeah, you're another matte liquid lipstick or something like that. This is a new idea that people need to get on board with. It's not like, oh, that's great, I know that, I'm gonna snag 5 of them. But the fact that this new idea, new product is $15? Are you kidding me? Now you really should just go buy a MAC lipstick. It's like, this is such an inconvenient product as it is. It looks like a pigment, but you have to rub it onto your lips and then wait for it to turn into cream. Why do brands make products so much more difficult than they need to be just because it has this gimmick wow factor? I guess that's cool. I'm sure Tarte will make a video about it on a WTF, and maybe you could do a crazy one-time, wow, this is crazy, look at me, look what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, this is not a practical thing, and I can't believe they're trying to make you spend $15 on it. That's so ridiculous to me. Alright guys, that was everything for this video. I hope you guys liked to hear me ramble and rant about drugstore products that are just way too much money. Moral of the story is you can find really, really good, really inexpensive products at the drugstore, or you can save up and you can buy that really nice thing from Sephora that you've wanted all along. Not everyone has the same mindset like that, but that's personally how I think and how I go about shopping. That is it for me. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.